Hello again, welcome back to Tech Talks. We're here again for another day of the Blind 75 Challenge, where I'm solving one problem per day from the famous Blind 75 list of LeetCode questions. Today, we have a problem called Product of Array Except Self, and the question asks us, given an array nums, return an array answer such that answer at I is equal to the product of all of the elements of nums except for nums of I. The product of any prefix or suffix of nums is guaranteed to fit in a 32-bit integer. You must write an algorithm that runs in big O of n time and without using the division operation. So looking at our example data sets, we see that nums equals 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the output equals 24, 12, 8, and 6. So how's this calculated? Well, if we look at our nums array, we can see that 2 times 3 times 4 equals 24, and so that's the number that we end up with in position 0. At position 1, we look at 1 times 3 times 4, and we see that that equals 12, and then so on through the array. And you can see example 2 follows the exact same pattern as well. So let's think about how we can solve this. Well, there's a couple of ways. The naive solution would be to have 3 arrays. We can use one array to track the products as we move from the beginning to the end of the array. We can have another array to track the products as we move from the end to the beginning of the array. And then finally, we have a third array that will bring them both together. However, we don't actually need 3 arrays. All we really need is one results array, and we can calculate the total product of each value as we move from the beginning to the end of the array, and then we can do the same in the opposite direction, except this time we'll be multiplying the total product against the value that's already in place in the results array. This would give us our required linear runtime and also would avoid using the division operation. So let's get started. First, we want to instantiate an integer array that we're just going to use to track the results. And we want to set the size to be nums.length. And next we're going to start with our total. So since we don't really care yet about the product in index 0, we can just set the total to equal 1. So let's move from the beginning of the array to the end of the array. We just want to do for int I equals 0. And while I is less than nums.length, and we're just going to increment I each time we pass through. And we first want to set the result at I equal the total, and then we want to set the total equal to total times by nums at I. Okay, so great. So we got our first pass. Now we want to reset the total to 1 again. And we're going to do the exact same thing in the opposite direction. So we'll go for int I equals nums.length -1. And we'll loop while I is larger than or equal to 0. And then on each pass, we'll just decrement I. And this time we'll want to set the result at I equal to total times by the result that's already in that position. And again, we're going to set our total equal to total times by nums at I. And the last thing we want to do is just return the result. And let's run that. And we can see that it's been accepted. Now, this is our first medium problem that we've came across. It is actually quite difficult to think about, so don't worry if you didn't get it at first. It actually took me a long time to get my head around it as well. But that wraps up another day, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of these kind of videos. And yeah, thanks for watching.